So please join me in welcoming His Worship, Mayor Matt Brown, as he comes to share greetings on behalf of the City of London.
Thank you. That's right. And, like we always say, it might be effluent to some people, but it's bread and butter to us. So, 1977. Raise your hand if you weren't on the planet in 1977. Okay, we hate you. I was thinking back to what I was doing in 1977. I was 4 years old. I was at the Park Theater in Old East Village, and I was watching Star Wars for the first time. And I was with my older brother and my dad, and I begged him for a large pop. This is sort of topical, so I'll tell the story here because we're talking about sewage treatment. And my dad said, "Matthew, you can't have a large pop. You're going to need to go to the restroom." And I convinced him that I needed that large pop. And right, if you're a fan of Star Wars, right during the trench scene when they're going to blow up the Death Star, spoiler alert, I proved him right. And he had to take me out of the park theater, and I had to do what 4-year-olds do. And the next day, he tells this story all the time. The next day, he went back to the Park Theater with my brother and enjoyed Star Wars without me. So just before I begin my formal remarks, I want to recognize that this event, all events in London, take place in the treaty territory of the Anishinaabe, which is defined within the pre-Confederation treaty known as the London Township Treaty of 1796. And throughout time, this region has also been the home to the Haudenosaunee and the Lenape nations as well. And as we talk about sustainability and as we talk about moving forward, I think it's very important for us to remember where our history, where Canada's history is rooted. Thank you. It is an absolute pleasure for me to be here on behalf of City Council, on behalf of the entire City of London, to recognize and to celebrate the legacy that Trojan has accomplished over the past 40 years. 40 years is an incredible milestone, and I know it's never easy. And this is a great example of what a startup company can be 40 years from now. And London is a startup company city, and it's not without risk. And it's not without problems, and it's not without failures that eventually lead to success. But Trojan Technologies, everyone here is standing on the shoulders of giants, and we're so proud of what you've been able to accomplish over the past 4 decades. Starting with the toolboxes that we heard about earlier, and now making these large-scale applications for municipal water and wastewater treatment plants. This is a story that we should all be proud of. It's a story that I tell when I travel across Canada. You can't believe how proud I am when I tell mayors from Vancouver or from Toronto or from Halifax that Trojan Technologies treats about 90% of the water in New York City. That is amazing. This company has gone from a small manufacturer to an enormous manufacturer that we recognize not just across Canada, but across the world. And you've been leaders in innovation for 40 years. You continue to be a role model for other entrepreneurs and young businesses. Earlier this year, Hank Vanderlyn was honored with a Lifetime Achievement Award from Tech Alliance, and I can't think of a better recipient for that award. If 40 years of success wasn't enough of a stamp of approval, Hank's recognition earlier this year surely was. So I want to stop and just tell you a quick story about my experience with Trojan Technologies as a teenager and as a young adult. Because I attended, like many Londoners, a camp called Camp Queen Elizabeth up on Bosley Island just outside of Honey Harbour. It's the London YMCA camp. And we all remember the Walkerton tragedy. And we all remember what happened post-Walkerton. And the regulations changed. And small, not-for-profit operations like Camp Queen Elizabeth that had been giving incredibly positive memories to young people for generations was in a real crisis because things had to change quickly. Trojan Technologies stepped up. Trojan Technologies came in, audited, and redesigned both the water and the water treatment, the sewage treatment plant for the camp. And other than some of the capital costs, and I know people from finance are here, so don't go looking for this, but no bill arrived for the skill and for the talent and for the expertise. And that means that hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of kids continue to have those positive experiences. And I can tell, listening to all of the speakers talking about the history of this company, that it's people first. And you show that in everything that you do, in good times and in bad. And so when you come to work, I hope that you are incredibly proud. When you tell your friends and your relatives where you work and what you did at work, I hope you're incredibly proud. Because when we think about water, really it's about trust. And there are millions and millions and millions of people here in Canada, around the world, that turn on a tap, that drink a glass of water, that feed formula to their children, to their infants, made with water that Trojan has treated, and they don't think twice about it. That, I think, is the ultimate example of trust and excellence, and that is something that you should be exceptionally proud of. Thank you so much.